Hey guys, so today I am going to be sharing with you all my labor and delivery story. Now I know that you probably saw my labor and delivery vlog, and if you haven't, I'll leave it in a card up here. But I have officially delivered baby Cash. I am no longer pregnant, which is kind of sad in a way. Like, I don't know, it's like whenever they're in your belly, you're ready for them to come out, and then when they come out, you're missing your belly. It's just the weirdest thing. But on Instagram, I asked if anyone wanted to see a separate labor and delivery story from my perspective, since my husband did most of the filming for our vlog, and he did such a good job. I'm so thankful for him, because without him, there would have been absolutely no vlog. I was in no shape to be filming whatsoever, so I'm really thankful for him. I love to watch labor and delivery stories, especially when I was pregnant with Carter, who's my first one. I was obsessed with listening to how people went into labor, just how it all happens, because when you get to the end, you get really anxious about when am I going to go into labor? How is it going to happen? So I always like to hear from other people how their labor started. So this labor was completely different from my other two. Carter was induced, and with Cooper, my water broke in the middle of the night. I kind of started having contractions after that, but they ended up giving me a little bit of Pitocin with him to help speed up those contractions. So with this one, my doctor did do a membrane sweep. And if you don't know what a membrane sweep is, Google it. But it's pretty much just where they kind of run a finger through the area between the baby's sac of waters and your cervix. And it kind of releases some prostaglandins to kind of help your body get started on its own if it's ready. If your body's not ready, it will not start on its own. Whenever I went in for my 38-week appointment, I was 2.5 centimeters dilated on my own. And she went ahead and did it's called either a membrane sweep or a stretch and sweep or something like that. And she said, you're at a 3, and I would not be surprised if you go into labor within the next 48 hours. She said, I would be surprised if it doesn't work. So I was preparing myself, because she told me that last time with Cooper, and it was true. So I felt nothing after that. I felt just fine, and went about my day, and I was just kind of this may not work. I might, go all the way to my due date, which, by the way, my due date is actually March 6th. So today is March 1st. You're probably watching this on March 2nd. So it's not even my due date yet, technically. And I picked up my kids from school. I went to Target. I just did some normal stuff. And then that night I started feeling a little bit crampy, contractions, but every night I would get Braxton Hicks contractions, late in the evening. So it really didn't alarm me any. I was just kind of these are just regular contractions, or Braxton Hicks contractions. So I went to bed, and I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but nothing bad. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was hungry, so I ate some cereal, and it still felt kind of crampy. And then it progressively got worse. I was laying in bed, and I was trying to sleep, and it would keep waking me up. And I thought, am I cramping? I don't know why I was in denial about whether or not they were contractions. My doctor clearly said, you're probably gonna go into labor really soon. And I'm like, no, these aren't contractions, whatever, I think. And my biggest fear was that I was going to go to the hospital, and they were going to turn me away and be like, oh, your contractions are too far apart or whatever, because I was timing them, and they were 7 minutes here, 8 minutes here, and they would tell you as soon as they're 5 minutes apart, you can go to the hospital. So I got up around, I don't know, 6 a.m. I took a bath. I did my makeup just in case, but really at that point, I still was thinking, I don't know if these are contractions. And then all of a sudden, they just started coming. I was sitting on the recliner with my husband, and they just started coming faster and faster, and I would say, okay, go, and I would have a contraction. And then they started out 7 minutes, and they were 6 minutes, and then they were 5 minutes. This started moving really quickly, and they started getting really painful. So I had called my mom, and I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. I need you to come and watch the boys for me. So I was literally about to just jump in the car and take them with me or meet her, because it was starting to be so bad. I would walk around the house, and it was starting to get to be 4 minutes at this point. and they were terrible. You guys, there is no comparison between a Braxton Hicks contraction and a real contraction. You will know the difference, believe me. The pain of a real contraction is like, it shoots down your legs almost. At least for me, it does. I didn't feel it in my back so much this time, which usually I have pretty bad back labor. I did, you know, of course it wrapped all the way around. But the pain from having a real contraction it's almost like you can feel it kind of pushing the baby's head down from the inside. I know that's a weird, really weird way to put it, but you're contracting, but you've also got this pain just shooting down your legs. And I'm telling you, every 5 minutes I would just stop and like moan. It was the only way that I could, like, I would drop to my knees and moan. I would lay down. It was just, I can't even tell you. And at the moment I was thinking, what was I thinking? Because whenever I was induced and when my water broke, I barely felt, I mean, it was painful, but I had never felt labor contractions like this before, because I had, well, with Carter, my epidural did not work. Let's just say that. But with Cooper, his birth was like a piece of cake. So at this point, I'm feeling all these contractions and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Like, everything just went out the window at that point. So my mom got the boys, my husband and I jumped in the car, and I was having contractions. As you guys saw in the vlog, we tried to skip past the contractions because it was terrible. And every like turn that he took, I was like, please don't turn. Like, I just felt like any kind of movement was gonna make me have a contraction. So we get there, we get into triage, and I swear I sat in there for like 15 minutes while there was other, you know, women in there like, oh, I have a little pain right here, and the nurses were with them and stuff, and I'm over there in the other room thinking, this baby is about to fall out of my vagina any second now. You guys better get your butt in here and check. I'm not kidding. I literally thought, I'm gonna miss my epidural. This baby's gonna come out right here. Like, it was just, it was intense. And we tried not to show that in the vlog just because I didn't want you guys to be watching me like crying during contractions, but it was intense. So finally she comes in and I'm like, I'm having contractions every 5 minutes. I think they might be coming faster. I was at a 3 yesterday. So she checked me and she's like, okay, well, you're definitely at a 5, about 80% effaced. And let's go ahead and get you like going so we can get you your epidural and everything. So once they realized like, okay, this girl's about to have a baby, and it was my number, and was my 3rd one, they're like, what number baby is this? They're always like, is this your 1st and stuff? And I'm like, no, this is my 3rd. And once you tell them that you've had a couple babies before, they're like, okay, we need to speed this up just a little bit faster. So I made it to my room and they just started, like, I was in so much pain. Once again, if you saw the vlog, you can see I'm laying there just moaning. Thank goodness my husband, I'm glad he pulled out the camera for me. He really pulled through, but man, I was just like, give me my epidural because I am hurting so bad. So thankfully the epidural, the anesthesiologist came in very quickly. He got it done, and he did it right this time because with Carter, I had back surgery when I was younger, and he did it into the scar. I don't know why, but this doctor was like jolly on the spot. Like, he got it perfectly. I felt, I mean, the epidural should be the least of your worries if you go into labor on your own, because the pain of the contractions is way worse than the pain of an epidural. I barely felt the epidural at all, and he did it in between contractions. I would have a contraction and then he put it in like real quick, and it worked pretty much immediately. It doesn't take care of the pressure that you feel down there, but it takes care of the pain of the contractions. So I was definitely feeling better, but in like all honesty, I was telling my husband, the way that it feels when you feel like you're gonna have a baby is you have to take like the biggest poop of your life. Like it's like you're so constipated and you're about I know, you guys, but nobody told me this before I had Carter, and I was like, I really thought I need to poop, like, and it was actually the baby trying to come out. So when you feel all of that pressure, it's the baby's head pushing down. So we were in the room for, I guess, I don't really know. I want to say it was, we got there around 11 or so, and I had him at 2:49. But whenever she went in, I was already at an 8 or 9 by the time like I got my epidural and everything, I was like progressing so quickly, and my water hadn't broken, which was strange because I kept thinking my water's gonna break any minute on its own. So whenever I went to deliver, my doctor had to break the water before I could deliver. And she said that the reason the water hadn't broken was because he was sunny side up. And I've never delivered a baby sunny side up before. I had no idea, but I believe it's when his face is up instead of towards your back, hence why they call it sunny side up. She had said that because he was sunny side up, that was the only reason that my bag of water hadn't broken yet, and that if he hadn't been in the sunny side up position, I probably wouldn't have made it to the hospital in time. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, thank goodness he was sunny side up, but it also makes it a lot more painful when they're coming out. So I started pushing, and I think she started to get a little bit concerned because of his position, that it was going to be a little bit harder to get him out. So I pushed as hard as I could to get that baby out because I was just like so determined. I was really afraid she was going to end up saying something like, you know, you're going to need a C-section because it's positioned wrong and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, get this baby out. So I pushed for like 20 minutes, I think, and then he came out, and I felt that ring of fire with Cooper. I don't remember feeling a thing with him. Carter, I'm pretty sure that I did because it was my first, but I felt the ring of fire with this baby, and I know it was because he was sunny side up, but man, coming out, it was just like, holy cow, what is going on down there? And I mean, as soon as he came out, you just feel like this huge relief. It's just like the biggest relief. Like your body is just like, I don't know, it's just almost like your whole body just kind of takes like this big sigh, like this just relief of getting this baby out. And then of course you still have to deliver the placenta, which happens like 5 minutes later, and usually you don't even notice. I did notice, but once again, like you're watching your baby over here and he's on your chest, and when he came out, like it's the most amazing feeling, you guys. No matter how many kids you have, it's just like there is this baby that you've been holding in your body. You've created this baby for, you know, 10 months, and you've been thinking about what they're gonna look like, and all of a sudden here they are, and it's just the most overwhelming feeling. So he came out super healthy. He was mad when he came out, crying, and they weighed him. He weighed 7 pounds, 4.5 ounces, and I had guessed 7'6", so I was pretty close, I would say, and 19.5 inches, so he was a little bit shorter than Cooper. But just the cutest thing, and he ate so well. I've had no problems, thankfully, breastfeeding my boys. All of them have latched on without any issue, and I haven't had any issues in that area, so he latched on immediately. That is pretty much my labor and delivery story. It was really different from my other two, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. To this day, I feel like I've had every experience. I've been induced, my water is broken, and I've started out with contractions. And let me tell you, starting out with contractions, you better be prepared because that stuff hurts. And if I have another one, I'm gonna have to get to the hospital really fast because I may not have made it. I think I waited way too long. I was too concerned about whether or not they were going to send me home, and I kept thinking, you know, are these, I don't know why, still looking back thinking, are these real contractions? Because I was in so much pain. I knew that they were real contractions, but I still had this fear of getting there and then being like, no, sorry, you know, you're not progressed, you're gonna have to go home. So I waited way too long, and probably would have had him in the car had he not been sunny side up. So I'm gonna go get baby Cash so I can introduce him to you all real quick. He's sleeping out there with my husband, but he's probably gonna start getting hungry in a second. So I'm gonna go get him for you and introduce him to you. Okay guys, so here he is. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer to the camera. He really is the sweetest little thing. He does not like to be put down. He likes to be held all the time, and he sleeps great when you're holding him, but when you put him down, that's another story. But That's okay. I realize that this only lasts for so long, and I'm soaking up all of the baby moments just in case this is my last one. We all just love him so much. The boys are all just adjusting so well. I had no issues, like, you know, I didn't have any concerns about Carter adjusting. He's such a good big brother, and he has been such a great help with Cash. And Sydney has been a great help. She's always been a great help. And Cooper is kind of like, what is, like, is he real kind of thing. Like, he loves to touch his head, and every day that goes by he kind of like shows a little bit more affection towards him, which is just the sweetest thing to see him become like a big brother. Thank you guys so much for following along in this pregnancy journey of mine. It's so hard to believe that he's here, and I feel like I was just, you know, announcing that I was pregnant. And I get emotional, but not a day goes by that I don't think about him being my rainbow baby, and how we had lost a baby before him. And I just kind of think of how if we hadn't lost that baby that he wouldn't be here, but also that I have a baby in heaven also waiting for me as well. So I'm trying to get back like on a regular schedule, but of course I hope you guys understand that I'm doing the best that I can with a newborn and kids and just getting my videos up. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys on my next video.
I can see the way to me. I know that I can see that I can.